Welcome to Sleepy Classic Tales. Today we listen to a calm summary of a story in which honor, guilt, and violence move inexorably toward one another. The Duel, written by Heinrich von Kleist and published in 1811. The story begins with an accusation. A young woman known as Litigard stands at the center of a grave charge. She is accused of adultery, an offense that would destroy not only her honor, but her entire life. In the world she inhabits, there is scarcely any escape from such suspicion. Words count for little, evidence even less. Litigard denies the guilt, yet her denial is not enough. The man who accuses her is convinced of his claim. The courts are at a loss, for no one can prove the truth beyond doubt. In this hopeless situation, they turn to a means older than any verdict: the duel. The outcome of the fight shall decide. Not facts, but God himself, so it is believed, will speak through the victory of the righteous. Whoever wins is right. Whoever falls bears the guilt. It is a decision that is final and leaves no room for doubt. A knight steps forward for Litigard, a man willing to defend her honor, though he knows what is at stake. Opposite him stands the accuser himself, determined to confirm his charge with his weapon. Both know one of them will not leave this place alive. Preparations begin. The rules are set, the location determined. Tension rises. Litigard herself remains in the background, yet her fate hangs on every step, every movement of the men who fight for her. What is being decided here is more than a dispute between two people. It concerns truth and falsehood, guilt and innocence, and the question of whether justice truly arises where violence decides over life and death. Nothing has yet happened, and yet everything is already in motion. The day of the duel approaches, and with it, the tension grows. The decision that has been made is irreversible. No one questions it any longer. Not because it appears just, but because there is no other way to resolve the question of guilt. Litigard remains silent. She is rarely seen. She waits, shielded from the world, while her fate is discussed as though it were already determined. Her word no longer counts. She cannot prove her innocence. Everything that may save her now lies in another's hands. The knight who is to fight for her prepares himself. He is not young, not invulnerable. He knows his opponent is strong, resolute, convinced of his own truth. Yet he does not hesitate, not out of recklessness, but out of duty. He knows he is not only fighting for a woman, but against a verdict that already seems pronounced. The accuser, on the other hand, appears confident. He is firmly persuaded he is in the right. For him, the duel is not a test, but a confirmation. He expects no doubt, no reversal. His belief in his accusation is so strong that he holds it for truth. The field of combat is prepared. An enclosed ground, spectators all around, judges overseeing the course. Everything follows strict rules. Every step, every movement is prescribed. Order is to prevail, even when it concerns life and death. As the fighters stand facing one another, a peculiar silence lies over the field. No cheering, no excitement, only expectation. All know this fight is unlike others. It is not meant to measure strength, but to force truth. And yet it is fought with swords, not words. The signal to begin is given. The men move toward each other, cautious at first, testing, then faster. Blades strike, sparks fly. Every blow can be decisive, every mistake deadly. Lidegard hears the clash of weapons from afar. She does not see the fight, but she feels it. With every impact of steel, her heart seems to beat in answer. She knows every moment brings her closer to an end, in one direction or the other. The duel has begun, and with it, a decision no one can halt. The fight lasts longer than many expected. Neither man yields. Blow follows blow. Defense follows defense. It is not a wild, uncontrolled clash, but a stubborn, relentless exchange. Both know their craft. Both know a single mistake can end everything. The knight for Lidegard at first appears at an advantage. He is calmer, more focused, not driven to rash attacks. His opponent, however, fights with severity, almost with anger. He wants to force victory, not earn it. Each of his blows carries something final within it. The spectators hold their breath. No one speaks. No one dares openly to take sides. The significance of this fight is too great. They know the one who falls here falls not only as a man, but as bearer of a truth. Then the unexpected happens. The knight stumbles. A false step, a moment of inattention, and he falls to the ground. A murmur runs through the crowd. His opponent does not hesitate. He seizes the moment, presses forward, forces the knight into defense. For an instant, everything seems decided. The knight lies breathing heavily on the ground, his sword barely raised. The accuser stands above him, ready for the decisive strike. In that moment, many believe the verdict has been spoken. Guilt seems proven before the blade descends. But the knight does not give up. With his last strength, he rises. He parries the attack, staggers back, regains his footing. The fight continues. Slower now, more labored, yet no less dangerous. Both men are exhausted, their movements losing precision. The duel becomes torment, not only for the fighters but for all who watch. Each further blow prolongs uncertainty. Each moment delays the decision and makes it more unbearable. Lidegard waits. She does not know what is happening. She hears only the dull echo of blades, the murmur of the crowd. With every second, her fear grows that everything is lost. And yet, she can do nothing but hope. The fight drags on, and with every minute it becomes clearer that here it is not strength that decides, but endurance, and the will not to fall. The fight has changed. What began as a regulated duel has become a grueling struggle. The swords grow heavier, the arms more tired, the steps uncertain. Neither fighter still has the strength to force a swift decision. Each blow costs effort, each parry is a risk. The knight for Lidegard bleeds, not heavily, but visibly. A wound on the arm, later one on the leg. They slow him, make every movement more painful. His opponent sees this at once. He begins to guide the fight, to draw it out, to play for time, convinced the other must eventually collapse. The crowd senses the shift. Where tense silence once prevailed, unease now hangs in the air. Some turn their gaze away, others follow every motion with growing nervousness. The fight lasts too long for a verdict that is meant to be spoken by God. The accuser grows impatient. He presses harder, drives the knight back, forces him step by step toward the edge of the field. Several times it seems the decisive strike is imminent, yet again and again the knight manages to hold himself. not through strength, but through will. Then something decisive occurs. In a moment that almost seems inconspicuous, the accuser slips. Only half a step, a brief faltering, but the knight seizes the instant. He thrusts forward, strikes his opponent heavily, forces him back. Now it is the accuser who reels. The roles have reversed. The sure victor suddenly appears vulnerable. His breathing comes in bursts, his movements grow erratic. He tries to maintain composure, but his superiority is broken. The fight goes on. No swift triumph, no clear sign. Instead, a wearing back and forth. Both men are at the end of their strength. Every blow could be the last, for one or the other. Lidegaard senses something tipping. She does not know why. She sees nothing. She hears only the voices, the murmur shifting in tone. Hope mingles with her fear. A hope that is dangerous because it can lose everything. The duel approaches its end, not through a clear victory, but through exhaustion, through chance, through a moment when one of them can no longer continue. And in that moment, it will be decided whether guilt or innocence survives, or whether the duel itself destroys what it claims to clarify. The fight does not end with a sudden strike, but with a slow collapse. The accuser can barely remain standing. His movements grow uncoordinated, his attacks imprecise. The knight for Lidegaard recognizes this, not triumphantly, but soberly. He knows this is the final stage of the fight. No room for mistakes, no room for hesitation. The two men circle one another. Each step costs strength. Each breath burns. The swords now seem less weapons than burdens hardly lifted. Yet precisely in this exhaustion, everything is decided. Not by skill, but by the last remaining will. The accuser attacks, rashly, desperately, with the force of a man who feels the ground slipping from him. The knight retreats, parries, stumbles, and remains upright. For a moment, everything seems to stand still. Then he thrusts. The blow is not spectacular. It is precise, final. The accuser collapses, his sword falling from his hand. A cry passes through the crowd, followed by silence. No one cheers. No one speaks. All know. The verdict has fallen. The knight still stands, gravely wounded, barely able to hold his sword, but upright. For the judges, that is enough. According to the rules of this cruel procedure, God has spoken. The victor is right. The fallen bears the guilt. Lidegaard is free. She is brought forward, declared cleared of all blame. The charge of adultery is deemed refuted. Her honor is restored. Yet she does not react with joy. She looks at the knight and recognizes the price this truth has demanded. The victor himself finally sinks down. He is too severely wounded to live. Before he can be aided, he dies from the consequences of the fight. The man who proved her innocence does not live to see her rescue. What remains is a disturbed crowd. 2 men are dead, 1 woman is saved, and all declare the outcome just. Yet as the field is cleared, an unspoken question lingers. What kind of truth is this that can be proven only through death? After the death of both men, no peace returns. The field on which they fought empties slowly. Spectators disperse, speaking softly, avoiding one another's gaze. No one wishes to remain long at this place. Too clearly what has happened stands before them, and how final the decision has been. Litigard is led away. She is officially declared free, her name spoken without shame or stain. Yet the words confirming her innocence sound hollow. She knows her rescue did not arise from understanding, but from chance, from exhaustion, from a fatal strike. Her freedom bears the weight of 2 dead men. The judges declare the case closed. According to the rules of the duel, everything has proceeded properly. Nothing remains to examine, nothing to clarify. The guilty has fallen, the righteous has prevailed. So the verdict reads. And yet, something unspoken lingers in the air, a doubt no one dares voice openly. Litigard withdraws. She speaks little, takes scarcely part in the conversations now conducted about her. For many, she is saved. For others, she remains a reminder of a scandal that could be ended only through blood. Her innocence is confirmed, but not understood. Within her grows an emptiness. Not relief, not gratitude, but a quiet exhaustion. She realizes she never truly played a role in this procedure. Decisions were made about her. Men fought for her, yet her voice achieved nothing. The duel did not bring truth to light. It replaced it, with an outcome accepted because it is final. No one asks any longer what truly happened. No one wants to know. The verdict has ended curiosity, and precisely therein lies its power. Litigard recognizes that she is free, but not reconciled. Her life continues, yet it now bears a story she cannot tell without thinking of death. A story in which justice was not sought, but forced. The duel is over, yet what it has left behind continues, quietly, inexorably, without any possibility of undoing it. Life slowly returns to its routines, as though nothing had occurred. The duel is soon remembered only as an event, a necessary act in a world that derives its order from ancient rules. For many, the case is settled. The verdict is spoken, the guilt clarified, the honor restored. For Litigard, nothing is settled. She lives on, freed from the accusation, yet bound to the knowledge of what her freedom cost. 2 men have died for her. One because he accused her, one because he defended her. Both became part of a procedure that claimed to create truth, and instead merely set an end. She often thinks of the knight, not as hero, not as savior, but as a man willing to give his life so that a verdict could be pronounced. She knows he did not prove her innocence. He purchased it, with blood, with pain, with his own death. The duel did not answer the question. It silenced it. No one asks any longer what truly occurred. No one wishes to know. The result suffices. It is clear, irreversible, convenient, and precisely therein lies its cruelty. Truth is not sought, but replaced by an outcome accepted because it is final. The duel creates clarity by making further questions impossible. Whoever is dead cannot contradict. Whoever survives is deemed right. Litigard understands that her story was never truly her own. She was occasion, object, stake, but never voice. Decisions were made about her without her. Her rescue was necessary, yet not just. She may live, but she may not explain, not doubt, not mourn, without calling the verdict into question. So she has no choice but to go on, with the knowledge that justice does not always mean truth, that order does not always create right, and that a procedure demanding life in order to establish clarity becomes itself guilty. The duel is over, yet what it reveals remains. A world in which violence decides, where doubt is unwelcome, and truth counts only when confirmed by death. And with that, our story for today comes to an end. A story about guilt, honor, and what happens when justice is not sought, but forced. Perhaps you are now wondering, how does our calm short version differ from the original? Why does the duel not value actual truth, but only the outcome? And how typical is this work of its era, born in a time when law and violence were still inseparably bound? We explore these and other questions in our accompanying book, Golden Pages, Volume 2. There you will also find the story in full, and we place the duel in its historical context, showing when and where this form of legal practice was indeed common. You will find the link in the description. And if you like, we will listen together again tomorrow on Sleepy Classic Tales. Good night.